Hello, this is Whichmind. Today's question. I want you to really think about it. You receive 10 billion won, but you can never work again for the rest of your life. Or, you work an ordinary job for 30 years. Which one would you choose? Pause for a moment and really pick one. It's harder than you'd think, right? With 10 billion won, you'd think you'd never worry about money again. But once the condition, never work again, is added, the answer doesn't come easily. Leave A or B in the comments first. And tell us why you think that way, as you watch through to the end with us. Today, with just this one question, we're going to dig deep into the various psychological phenomena happening in our minds, not just simply because work is good, but the real reasons why we hesitate even in front of a huge sum of money. We'll uncover them one by one. Let's start with the first reason. Psychology actually explains this question from the perspective that work isn't simply about earning money. Through work, people don't just earn money. They confirm, who am I? Going to work every day. Becoming someone needed by others. The sense of fulfilling a role. This is what psychology calls identity. This is also why many people suddenly feel powerless after retirement. It's not because they lack money, but because they lose the answer to the question, who am I now? Even with 10 billion won. If you can never work again, you'd feel lost about where to find this identity. The moment your business card and your title disappear, you lose one of the ways you had to explain who you are. Let's move to the second reason. One of the hardest things for people to endure is time with nothing to do. Psychologists say that people need structured time. When you wake up in the morning and know where you need to go and what you need to do, you actually feel more secure. On the other hand, when all 24 hours of the day become free time, it feels good at first. But as time passes, people often become more anxious instead. Think about a long vacation you've taken before. The first few days are truly happy. But after a week or two, a quiet restlessness starts creeping in. A feeling that you should be doing something. If your entire life became a vacation, that restlessness could go much deeper and last much longer. On the other hand, the side that works an ordinary job for 30 years, earns less money, but keeps accumulating daily rhythm, colleagues to work with, and small senses of achievement. This is the second reason why many people can't easily choose, even in front of a huge sum, like 10 billion won. The third reason is the psychology of social comparison. People react more strongly to relative comparison than to absolute happiness. If you work an ordinary job for 30 years, you live a life similar to those around you, staying within a stable comparison standard of, we all live like this. But if you receive 10 billion won and quit working, it might feel good at first. But the basis for comparison gradually disappears. Your friends still go to work, still talk about office matters, while you alone feel like you've stepped outside that flow. Over time, this can turn into a strange sense of isolation. You have money, but the number of people who'll listen to your stories, who'll spend the day with you, keeps shrinking. The fourth reason. Let's look at the psychology of post-decision regret. In psychology, there's research showing that regret over an irreversible choice leaves a much deeper mark. If you don't like an ordinary job, you can switch companies, change careers, or shift direction. But the condition, you can never work again. Once chosen, there's no way to undo it. People instinctively hesitate much more in the face of irreversible choices. The fear that you might later regret it. Thinking, I should have worked a little longer. Operates unconsciously. Now, let's move on to actual research findings. Several studies conducted abroad show similar results. Studies tracking lottery winners found that many people who suddenly gained large sums of money actually reported lower life satisfaction within 1 to 2 years. It wasn't that their money decreased. Losing something to do and a sense of belonging turned out to be the bigger problem. Conversely, studies also show that people who go through major accidents or hardships tend to return to their original level of happiness over time. Psychology calls this adaptation. It means that people eventually adapt to both good and bad events, returning to a similar level of happiness. That's why psychologists often say money is a necessary condition for happiness, but not a sufficient one. The happiness that a large sum of money brings doesn't last as long as you'd think. And in the end, what truly fills a person are invisible things like relationships, roles, and a sense of belonging. Listening up to this point, some of you might feel your initial choice wavering a bit. That said, I'm not trying to conclude that an ordinary job is always better, since the meaning each person finds in work, the depth of their relationships, and their personality all differ. There's no single right answer. What's clear, though, is that the reason we hesitate in front of this kind of question isn't simply because the money is too little. It's because of much more complex human reasons. Now, let's go back to the original question. 10 billion won and never working again. Or an ordinary job for 30 years. Does it look a little different now? Whatever choice you left in the comments at the start, watch through to the end. And if it's changed, let us know that too. And please share why it changed, or why it stayed the same. We'll talk about it together in the next video. In the next video, we'll explore the question 100 million won a day versus 10 billion won in 10 years. And look at why we're drawn to immediate rewards. If today's video helped you, please subscribe and like. Stay tuned so you don't miss the next story.